set the foundation up in 2008 to be, and I never really set it up as a foundation. Anyone who knows my story, my mother was a huge influence in my life, and on her deathbed I said I'd do two things, and that was to win the Hawaiian Ironman and to win the Olympics. And she passed away only 3 months before the Sydney Olympics, and I never got to race the games. I was just devastated. And I went and had this wonderful career, and I got married. I had 2 daughters of my own, and I remember winning the Ironman in Hawaii, and I thought it was the crowning moment of my career. It was an amazing race win, and I sat back at the resort, 3 or 4 hours after the event, and I was watching my 2 daughters play, and I had this element of this feeling of disappointment that my mother wasn't there to share this.
For cancer awareness with my sister having breast cancer.
Okay.
So doing that to raise awareness and raise some money and get it out globally to everyone else, to realise that triathlon's accessible to everyone.
My mother and father died young of cancer, and it's something that's really close to my heart. And I lost my mum at 53 and my dad at 72, and I went through all that with them, and it's just horrible, And I wanted to sort of lend my support to something that was that good. So yeah, and it's global, and it's doing some good things.
And at that point, I feel like I climbed the Everest of my sport. I went on to continue winning, but I wanted to do something more than it being just about me. So what I felt robbed of was that this disease that I had not really thought about much until my mother got breast cancer had robbed an opportunity of my children to experience an amazing woman, and for her to see her son fulfill his dream. So at that point in time, my wife and I were just talking, and we just thought as a family, as we travelled around the world, we'd raise money and awareness for this disease, and we set ourselves a target of $2,755,950. People are going to go, why that number? And I said, look, my mother was alive for 19,375 days, and I do 140.6 miles in an Ironman. So the family task, in that sense, was to try and raise $140.6 for every day my mother was alive, just in honour of her memory. And it was not about creating a big foundation or being a Livestrong or something big. It was just a family thing to do. So we set about on doing that. And as I travelled around the world, we would, just donate money and raise money and go and speak at functions and donate money to certain charities around the world. And we achieved that in 2010. We hit our goal as a family.
Well, we raced for the Macca team, Chris McCormack. It's a global triathlon team, so we race different countries, people from all over the place. But the MaccaNow Foundation is raising money for cancer charity, so we support people within the team and outside the team. So it's a fantastic cause because there's so many families all over the world that are affected by it. So if we can do a bit and raise money and help the people, then it's a fantastic thing to do. So we're really glad to be able to help.
But as is always the case with things when you're raising money, it sounds like a great thing to do, but there's always these laws and tax liabilities and that, and being in the States, they said you just can't give money away. So I had to form this foundation, and at that point we'd helped people like Mel Taylor, who's here, Kurt Taylor's wife, and a lot of people I'd become quite good friends with by donating money. And they put their hand up and said, well, you're not an American, why don't we set up the foundation in your honour? It's just a great story, you've done so much, and we'll continue that legacy. And I was like, oh, that's marvellous, like, thank you very much. And triathlon's a very, very small, tight-knit family and a group of people, and you don't realise how many people are struck down by illnesses that rob families of so much, and that's sort of how we came about forming the foundation, and we all travel around the world now racing and raising awareness for cancer and other sicknesses. It's really expanded beyond breast cancer, and for me it was just to do something more than, athletes are very, very selfish, and sometimes they do things like create foundations because it's good for their brand, but it was never that case for me, and it's why it's always been so unassuming, and now people hear that we raise so much money, they're like, why didn't you get on television and tell people about it? So it was never about that.
I just think what he's doing to help others in their struggles with cancer is unbelievable, and when I had this opportunity to meet Kurt and the rest of the team that do all the sponsorship and raise money for the foundation, I just wanted to help. It was awesome.
Foundation, the good work that it brings, and it's also bringing it to the masses, so bringing triathlon in, raising the profile of triathlon, but also doing it for the good causes as well. So it really is an excellent situation to be in.
The proudest moment of my life as an athlete and a father was I was in Singapore, and we'd done this big fitness day. I'd won a race, and we'd raised about $35,000. Not a lot of money for a lot, but I'd done all this thing and engaged all these women to come to Fitness First, and we were doing spin classes. And that night we went with a check for $36,000, and my youngest, or my eldest daughter was probably 8 at the time, and she walked up on stage with me and donated this money to the Cancer Foundation of Singapore, the breast cancer. And she said, "This is from my nanny," which is my mother. I nearly cried. I was like, this is a woman my daughter never met, and I just thought, I'm doing this for all the right reasons. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.